Ramaya Ramabhadraya Ramachandraya Vedasi Raghunathaya Nathaya Sitaya Patiye Namaha. Yuddha chapter number 70, the death of Devantaka and his friends. The recitation begins now. The Rakshasa heroes raised a huge roar of fear and surprise when they beheld Narantaka done to death by Angada. Devantaka, Trisiras, Mahodara were beside themselves with rage and fell upon the monkey hosts. Then Mahodara mounted upon an elephant in wrath like unto a huge cloud bank and rushed upon Angada. He could not contain himself for wrath at the death of his brother, and so Devantaka grasped a weapon known as Parigha, blazing like fire, drove a car shining like the sun in his noonday glory, and drawn by noble steeds. He barred the way of the monkey prince, who, though brought face to face with these Rakshasas of no mean might and repute, heeded it not. The lust of battle was upon him, and he tore up a huge tree with his branches and hit Devantaka, even as Indra hurls his vajra at his enemy. But Trisiras cut it to pieces by keen arrows. Angada sprang in the sky and kept up a never-ending downpour of trees, blocks, and mountains. And Trisiras continued to shatter them with his keen arrows. Devantaka hit the trees and broke them with the point of his weapon, Parigha. Then Trisiras pierced Angada in his turn with his sharp arrows, and Mahodara joined him and drove his huge elephant against the son of Vali and hit him on the chest with tomaras, dreadful as a bolt of Indra. And Devantaka too joined in the attack and hit him sorely with his parigha and leapt back. Thus Angada, the son of Vali, was sore beset by the three Rakshasa heroes, yet he blenched not. He was absolutely a stranger to weariness or fatigue or pain. Endowed with speed by nature, he increased it immeasurably on the occasion and hit the huge elephant with all his might. Its eyes shot out of its head, and it trumpeted forth in dreadful agony, unable to withstand the tremendous blow. Then Angada tore out its tusk and hit Devantaka with it. Like a huge tree struck down by a mighty whirlwind, did that Rakshasa feel his limbs give way under him, and torrents of blood rushed forth from his mouth, nose, ears, and eyes. Then he steadied himself. His strength and luster were things to wonder at. He whirled above his head the terrible weapon Parigha and brought it down upon the devoted head of Angada. The prince gave way before it and fell upon the earth on his knees. But the next moment he took a mighty leap aloft, whereat Trisiras hit him on the forehead with 3 keen arrows. Thus did Angada manage to fight single-handed to 3 Rakshasa warriors of renown. He felt himself weary, so Hanuman and Nila came up to his aid. Nila tore up a mountain peak and brought it down upon Trisiras. That son of Ravana cut it down by his keen arrows, and it fell on the earth, covered with sparks and flames. Then Devantaka bent his mighty bow to his ear and rushed at Anjaneya, armed with his parigha. But Maruti met him as he came along and crashed his adamantine fist against him and caused the hearts of the Rakshasas to quake with fears by his lion-like roars. Devantaka, the son of Ravana, measured his length on the earth, a lifeless corpse. His head was cloven, his teeth were shattered, his eyes fell out, and his tongue rolled out of his mouth. When that Rakshasa hero who drove before him the hosts of the heaven world was thus laid low, Trisiras was inflamed with wrath and pierced Nila on his chest with unceasing shower of keen arrows. Meanwhile, Mahodara, on his elephant of mountainous bulk, clean forgot himself in his fury and shone like the sun on the top of Mount Mandara. He struck with his continuous arrowy shower at the breast of Nila, even like a huge cloud glorious with rainbows and lightnings, opened its discharge on a lofty mountain. The leaders of the monkey hosts was riddled through and through by these arrows. He was unable to move his limbs, and he stood there with his limbs tottering under him with fatigue. Yet he recovered himself after a while, tore up another mountain covered with forests, and hit Mahodara on the head with frightful speed. Like unto a mountain on which fell the vajra of Indra, did Mahodara fall upon the earth, bereft of life, with broken limbs and hardly recognizable. Trisiras beheld his uncle thus done to death, and bending his mighty bow, pierced Anjaneya with his arrow. The son of Vayu was enraged thereat, and sent a huge mountain against the Rakshasa, which he broke to pieces by his arrows. Then the son of Ravana felt himself hit all over by huge trees. Yet Trisiras managed to meet them on their way to him, and broke them to bits and roared lustily. Marathi leaped upon him all of a sudden, and like a lion ripping open the skull of an elephant in rut, he hit and tore at the heads of the horses that drew the car with his keen nails. Even as a Lord of Destruction sends forth on the last day the dreadful night of havoc, Trishiras threw a Shakti at Marathi. It came against him like a fiery meteor in broad daylight, and none could stay its course. But the monkey hero sprang up and caught it lightly and broke it to pieces. His mighty roar of joy was taken up by the monkey hosts, who echoed it like surcharged clouds when they beheld their terrible Shakti shattered to pieces. Then Trishiras drew his sharp sword and brought it down upon the broad breast of Marathi. But the monkey lord minded it not, and struck at the Rakshasa with all his might. The weapons fell from his nerveless hands. He fell on the earth, bereft of his senses and everything it holds dear. Thereupon Marathi tore the sword from his hands and roared mightily, at which the Rakshasas trembled in affright. That brought back Trishiras to his senses, and he hit Marathi on his breast in mad despair. It served but to enrage him the more. He sprang upon the Rakshasa, gripped his crowned heads, and even as Vishvarupa, the son of Tvashta, had his 3 heads shorn off by the Vajra of Indra, did that son of Ravana meet his death with his very sword that crashed through his 3 heads. Like unto souls that fall down from the heaven seats in the shape of stars when their merit has been worked out, did those heads burden the earth, blazing like fire and glaring with rage like huge mountains. The monkeys shouted for joy thereat. The earth quaked in fear, and the Rakshasas took to flight all over the field. Mahaparsva beheld the deaths of the 4 Rakshasa heroes, Trishiras, Mahodara, Devantaka, and Narantaka. He snatched a huge mace fashioned of hard iron and leapt forth to battle. It was decorated with golden bands and smeared with flesh and blood. Iravata, Mahapadma, Sarvabhauma, and other lordly elephants that bear the earth lightly on their heads quaked in affright at the sight of it. It was steeped in the torrents of blood from the foes that fell before it. It was fashioned with beauty and skill. It vomited flames and sparks. Red garlands decked it all over, and it blazed like the fire of universal destruction, and shed its luster and might on Mahaparsva himself as he fell on his foes. He troubled it mightily. Thereat Rishabha, the monkey hero, leapt down upon the Rakshasa hordes and faced Mahaparsva. The Rakshasa hit him on the breast with his mace, hard as Vajra, and backed with all his mad fury. The terrific blow clove his chest. He shook in helplessness and lost his senses for a while. Then, recovering himself with a mighty effort, he rushed upon the Rakshasa to snatch the mace from his hands. And with that weapon he put the Rakshasa troops to flight all over the field, and followed it up by bringing down the devoted head of Mahaparsva, having whirled it round and round. Struck by his own weapon, the Rakshasa fell upon the earth like a mountain hit by the Vajra. His teeth and eyes fell out of his head. Thus did Mahaparsva, the brother of Ravana, meet his death. Then the Rakshasa host, like a mighty ocean, threw away their weapons and fled in mad terror to save their lives. Mangalam Koshlendraya Mahaniya Gunavte Chakravarti Dhanurjaya Sarvabhaumaya Mangalam.